From Tobacco Republic in Loomis, California, the Loomis Cigar Cartel presents Beyond the Humidor, a cigar podcast for the rest of us.
Holy shit, you survived. I mean, good morning, Scott.
Okay, let me get this straight.
This is what you wanted to not be a surprise?
Yes.
Jesus H.
Probably would have been funnier if it was a surprise.
It couldn't have been any worse.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Scott
But anyway, good to see you, Scott.
Thank you. Scott Robinson with you for another edition of Beyond the Humidor. If you listened to the last one, you could have felt my absence because certain parties did the intro. I tell you a million times, don't try to do it like me. Make it your own.
Fuck off, Mr. Robinson. I reject my good morning.
See, I try to help, and this is the thanks I get.
He's been an angry little beaver all morning.
Just a smidge.
You know?
Why you got to bring beavers into it again?
Well,
Last time Robinson brought beavers in, it was embarrassing.
Do you even know what a beaver looks like?
Wow. I can't say it.
Wow.
On an unrelated note, Scott's alive. You can stop sending the flowers.
All right, so everybody out there who was around for the last episode, I was out with the coronavirus.
It finally got you.
Yeah, it finally got me. I was pretty smug at this point because I hadn't gotten it. I was just like, it missed me. And I was leaving here, ironically, one day. And between the time I left here and the time I got home, I was sicker than a fucking dog. And I'm thinking, this is just good old-fashioned flu. Till I took the home test.
Surprise, bitch.
Exactly. And I'm just like, oh, man. And because I'm in the high-risk category, of course, I call the advice nurse, and I take that experimental drug they've got that they clear for the FDA, Paxlovid, which is worse than the disease. Oh, for 3 days, it was just miserable. But I did catch up on some binge watching. I managed to finally watch all 4 seasons of Yellowstone. 5th one's coming out in about a week. Actually, by the time this records, it'll be out that night.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Did you already order your cowboy hat on Amazon?
Or did you get one from Samuel from Cigar Junkies?
You know what? As I texted you as I was watching it, by the time I got to the 3rd episode, I was like, these motherfuckers got me rooting for white supremacy. Jesus. This is pretty fucking good.
Oh,
I mean, you are here in jeans and a flannel today, so.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice job, Sue, on picking out the flannel, by the way.
next time get him jeans that aren't ripped. They're less expensive.
Keep talking. I'm going to take your ass to the train station.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, give him a rope, thinks he's a cowboy.
Yep, pretty much.
But good. In all seriousness, a good series. I'm glad I got a chance to watch it
is.
during my downtime.
So now you survived the Rona.
Mm-hmm.
However, you polluted Sue with the Rona also, correct?
Yes.
She was down for a few days as well.
My story is she had it first.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, we had that argument about, the first couple of days I was sick, she was taking care of me. Thank you very much, tiny wife. Then she's like, I'm starting to get sick. I better not be getting sick. Then she gets sick. So she's like 2 days behind me. So, of course, you made me sick. This is your fault. So then there was 2 of us sick for the week.
Oh, yeah, that must have been a joy.
Oh, yeah. And the only member of the house was the dog. The old man was out of town, so
Thank God.
It would have been 3 of us down. Oof.
No, man, Pops would have been like, he'd have been speed dialing everybody you knew, looking for a place to hide out.
I vote for Larry's house.
Wow.
I already got one invalid at my house. That's plenty.
I believe the term is invalid.
I got one of those too.
Jeez. Invalid. Invalid. Say it with me now. Invalid.
Invalid.
Invalid is a type of violin, isn't it? See, this is how I know. This is how I know we're doing good. When I look up and Gorilla's got his head down, and all I see is the bill of his hat and his headphones is weaving from side to side as he shakes his head in
Well,
disappointment.
hell, with this bright-ass light that we've got now, that's about all we can see of him.
Okay, this light has been on for 4 episodes. Stop bitching about it.
Longer than that. But anyway.
Yeah.
You all look beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can see me.
So, Gorilla, before this train hits the wall, what did you decide to smoke today for this episode?
I decided to go with that Christophe Cameroon that I smoked back when John was visiting us because it was fabulous, and I felt like smoking it again today.
Yeah, it's a great stick.
Taking up Greg's word of fabulous.
Fabulous.
Really?
Hey, call a spade a spade. It's a good cigar.
That's true. So I've got the Hamlet Liberation today, looking around the room at what we chose. I went in Larry's category and went with the Rocky Patel product. It is a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Honduran and Nicaraguan fillers. It's got some spice notes to it. I had my normal breakfast when we go out for breakfast before the recording, so it's not heavy, but it's got good flavor and good presence to sit with all the eggs and the jam and all the stuff we had for breakfast.
There we go.
So, yeah, it's a good stick. And, of course, for Sharon Tyson, I got my little Ciccar, which I love.
And we'll get into that a little more in a few. Myself, I wanted something simple today, and I went with one of my old reliables, the Grand Habano No. 1 Connecticut. Wanted something nice and light, but still had a little bit of flavor to it. This is sitting on an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper with some, at the core, some Nicaraguan long filler and binder. And it just makes for a real fantastic smoke, just nice and smooth, nothing too complicated. Breakfast was good, but I didn't want to do a heavy Maduro today. I just wanted something just to relax and chill with. And this No. 1 Connecticut is definitely the move.
See, I think that's a great everyday cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. That could be an every morning with coffee cigar for sure.
Yes.
For sure. I went back to the Rocky Patel line this morning. I have the vintage 2003 Cameroon. Now, this has been around a minute. It came out in, I believe, 17.
Yeah.
It was one of the top 25 cigars that year with like a 95, 96 rating. So it hit the market pretty hard. Cameroon wrapper, Honduran filler and binder, and it's a typical Patel. It's a very well constructed cigar. This has you get kind of a coffee caramel, a little bit of flavor off that because of the Cameroon. I think that's a little bit different, but than a lot of stuff that we typically smoke. The Cameroon has a unique flavor to it, but the Honduran part of it, I believe, is where you're getting a little bit of black pepper, cedar.
Yep.
So overall, just a really smooth cigar with some flavor, but nothing that overpowers one overpowers the other. It's been a minute since I had one of these. And when I saw it sitting in there today, I'm like, that's where we're going. And one of the, I don't want to say it's a downside, but it's a downside to having our local brick and mortar have such a large selection in the walk-in humidor is you miss some stuff once in a while. You know what I mean? You get where, okay, we're trying this, we're trying that. Oh, we've got a new line of cigars that are in that are really fabulous. So we're smoking some of those, and we kind of lose sight of some of the tried and true stuff that's been there for a long time that we really liked.
Pause for 1 second. Hold that thought. Keep it in mind. I have to make a comment. 1, 2, 3. There have been 3 times on this show that you fools have used the word fabulous. You were the third one, but please continue.
So 3 down, 1 to go is what you're saying, right?
I will not use that word.
You wouldn't push a dog stroller either, but you own one, and we have rumors that you use it. So.
All right.
You pushed it longer than I did, if I ever did.
Yeah, but Larry's a man. He's not worried about that.
Oh, here.
Oh, God damn.
Oh.
Okay.
Shots fired.
All right.
Oh.
I'll push the freaking dog stroller. I ain't scared. If you're scared, say you're scared, as Larry likes to say.
How did fabulous hurt you?
Cue the Sarah McLachlan music.
Yeah.
The only reason is because the way he says fabulous, and then all of a sudden the two of you just picked up on the word. It's like the fucking word for Sesame Street. Today's episode of Sesame Street is
Brought to you by the word fabulous. Told you you'd say it.
And the number 3.
Yeah. Number 4 now.
So back to your
Yeah,
thoughts,
so,
Larry.
we wander into the humidor, and I'm sure, I can't be the only one, that's done this, and all of a sudden something that's been there forever, been there for years, just pops up, and you're like, oh, that's what I'm getting today. And so that's why we got the vintage Cameroon today.
Well, I have to say, Larry, that one out of Patel's line, that is my number one go-to to smoke, because Cameroon's one of my favorite, and the flavor profile is one of the best.
No, absolutely. The Cameroon, I'm kind of getting into the Cameroon stuff a little bit more, and that's Patel's. This is one of those things where if you see something in the Rocky line that you haven't tried before, you're not a Maduro guy, you want to try a Maduro. Probably not a bad place to go.
Yeah.
Cameroon, same thing. You've never tried a Cameroon. You want to try a Cameroon. Patel's probably not a bad start for you. If you try it and don't like it, then it's not in your wheelhouse. You didn't pick up a bad cigar per se. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's. I forgot how good these were because it's been quite a while since I've had one. So. There we are with that.
Nice. Now, I'm going to harken back to the last episode since I wasn't there. We had Tyson and Cher from Ciccar, and they were good enough to give us their featured product here. Now, I'm just going to say...
Don't try to take that off now.
I'm not going to. I was just kind of just twisting around, but, we'll have pictures of it, I'm sure. So I finally had a chance to use it.
Yeah, because he got his while he was sick.
Yeah, so I couldn't use it, and I finally got a chance to sit down and use it. And there's a picture on the Cartel website as I'm assembling this thing. Please don't judge me, Tyson and Cher. I was kind of doing 4 or 5 things at the same time as I was putting this together. So I take the little... plastic cover here and put it on in reverse. So this thing looks like my cigar at the end looks like a dog cone.
Keeps it from falling out of your mouth though, doesn't it?
I took about 3 or 4 puffs of it and says, this can't be right. So then I turned it around and said, oh, I understand.
Look at Greg's texting her right now.
I already took a picture of it for the site. And I'm thinking I should really just take that picture off and just, shoot the picture properly as it's, put on properly. I just said, no, I'm going to have a little experiment. Which one of these fools is going to be the one to tell me you're doing it wrong? Yeah, exactly. This fool right here.
For those of you not on YouTube, that would he'd be pointing
It'd
at
be
Greg.
me. My lunch I was sitting on my lunch break at work and looking, going, holy Christ, really? But anyway, I digress. Honest mistake for you, I know.
Yeah, but I'll just say, when it comes to cigar accessories, short of cutters and lighters, I won't say go ahead.
Can I see yours for just a second?
Yes.
Wow, that's considerable. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got some weight to it, but yeah. I don't mind the weight. But as I was saying, when it comes to cigar accessories, I'm not down on them. It's one of those, okay, that's nice. But as I started using this one, there's a few things I really like about it. One is the fact that I can get a lot more smoke out of my cigar using this. And that was one of the things I was really happy about. Also, for the fact that I can have more of my cigar because this is taking the place, this cover here, you've got some cigar in there, it's taking the place of burning my hands so I don't look like I've been holding on to a crack pipe for 4 years. Shut up. Anyway, I don't burn my hands. It's a short trip to grandma's house. So I get to enjoy more of the cigar. And those are the 2 things I really like about it. Now, I was talking to Larry, and he was speaking on the fact that one of the things he really likes, because he's one of those cats and he smokes while he works with a cigar in his mouth. And we were talking about this the other night. Without the Ciccar, it's like, the end is just wet. By the time it's in your mouth for like 10 or 15 minutes while you're doing work, the end of your cigar is just massacred.
Every morning. Since the last episode, I've had the Ciccar on my first cigar in the morning, every morning but two. And what it's done is it's kept me from discarding a third of a cigar in the mornings.
Right.
Coincidentally, the 2 mornings that I didn't have it on, one morning I was driving to Sacramento and back, so I'm able to be, using my hands with a cigar. And the first morning was that I didn't use it. Knew I was going to be posted up in front of my computer for a couple hours straight, so I didn't put it on there either. But all the other mornings I've had it on, and it's eliminated that soggy, gnawed up end of the cigar that I have typically every morning that I'm going to the shop. So I was surprised that I liked a product like this as well as I do.
I was surprised you liked it too.
Typically this is not, not my gig, but this thing is very well constructed. It's super easy to clean. It works. I mean, it holds the cigar very well. Like Scott said, you get more smoke with it. Not as great for a V-cut, I've noticed, which a lot of the stuff I V-cut most cigars. A traditional cut, I feel so far in the couple weeks I've been using it, a traditional cut works better than a V-cut. Now, for those of you that are on YouTube, I have the little silicone attachment on mine, which is magnetized so that you can stick it on the side of your golf cart or the side of your toolbox or whatever, if you are playing golf, pickleball, whatever it is you do. So that's kind of a neat accessory. I like that too.
Yeah, one of the other accessories they have, which I have here, for all those on YouTube, it just sits up in this little stand. Look at that. It's like the launching pad, baby. Look at that.
Well, and the nice thing is they were saying, with it being vertical like that, it's an even burn.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, this thing's cool.
And, so I think I was telling you guys on Thursday night on our usual cigar hangout at TR, I had the situation come up that we talked about on the show that Sharon Tyson pointed out. I went to cut my cigar for a video herf that I was having. I know that's cringeworthy for you. It's the concept, not the actual
wasn't saying a word.
But I cut it and I cracked the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all you fellow cigar smokers know the struggle is real when you cut the cap and then you're constantly fighting it unraveling on you and all this other BS. So I'm like, I go get my Ciccar, shove that thing in here, and smoke away without any problems on the cap. No stress, no fuss, no tobacco in my mouth. Everything that they said on that show, we've all experienced it so far, and it absolutely works. It's a great product.
Yeah, I had the same cap issue with one that kind of a lunch break, shorter cigar, bigger ring gauge, and as soon as I cut it, man, it was like the cap just went descended. I'm like, shit. Same thing. I'm like, ha, and stuffed that sucker in there, and was able to smoke the whole cigar down, no issues. Not having to spit tobacco out of your mouth at some point, or just give up on it because the cigar just got to a point where it wasn't comfortable or able to smoke anymore. Which brings me to a point, and I asked you guys this over breakfast. When do you give up on a cigar? And the reason I ask this is I was smoking something yesterday that I'd kind of passed by. It came in the bag from Rocky Mountain this year, and I'd kind of passed by it a couple of times because I kind of wanted to save it for a time that I could make sure I was paying attention to it. I wanted to get that experience out of that cigar, and I'm not gonna throw the brand out there because it absolutely has nothing to do with the brand of the cigar. And I'm sure everybody that's been smoking for a minute has had this happen. You get a cigar that just isn't right. The humidification isn't right when you decide to smoke it. Maybe it wasn't the best roll. You know, it was too tight, it was too loose, it was something. I got one yesterday, and you can tell right off, 5 minutes into it, you don't have an ash. You have a charcoal briquette on the end of your cigar.
Yeah.
And the thing is hard as a rock when you go to press on the body of the cigar. I should have given up on it right then. But because of the cigar that it was, I'm like, nope, I'm going to fight my way through it. I must have tried to relight that cigar 15 times because you just couldn't draw enough air through it. It just wasn't working. So when do you guys quit on one?
That's one of my biggest problems when you get like a really shitty draw. I've been desperate depending on the cigar. Because sometimes even if, you know, your go-to cigar or a major brand, every now and then you're going to get one that's rolled a little too tight. And, you know, you're going to be trying to smoke it. It's like trying to, like, drink a thickened milkshake that's been frozen as you're trying to suck through the straw to get some of the shake out, and you're just not getting any smoke whatsoever. I've been so desperate, I've taken a paper clip and tried to shove it through there just to get some smoke or cut it back a little bit.
And they make, you know,
I've got a
picks,
draw poker.
draw pokers, picks, all that stuff. And
It still doesn't work, though.
and it's by no means a reflection on the cigar.
Right.
You know, this is a handmade product.
Right.
You know, they're made one at a time, individual. You know,
And sometimes
every
things
once in a-
happen.
You're going to have a bad
yeah,
one.
shit happens.
It
You
just is
get
what it
one
is.
that's not as good as the rest of them. But man, I was like, I'm fighting it, and then finally I'm like, I've had enough.
Now,
I can't do it.
That
now, the other thing is what you run into is when you give up on it. And there have been a couple cigars in my journey that I've done this, and it's the obvious one: taste. We shared a cigar once upon a time, probably about a year. It was memorable because it was about a year and a half. Because I'll usually give most cigars a chance, even on the initial draw when it's like, yeah, this isn't quite in my wheelhouse, but let me see as the tobacco heats up, or, you know, have a drink with it or something, maybe bring something out of it, or just try to, you know, be fair. Man, it took I think we did about 3 puffs of it. I said, not even at gunpoint.
right.
And put it down.
Right.
Taste is the biggest reason why I would give up on a cigar. Bad draw would be second most, but I try to do something about the bad draw.
Yep.
So, and you know, it's funny because we talk about there's 2 kinds of bad draws as far as I'm concerned. There's a problem you had, and then there's the complete opposite problem where it's rolled too loose. And I had that happen with a cigar the other night. It's not hard for y'all to figure out which one it is, but it was not tight enough. So what should have been a nice hour to hour 15-minute smoke was done in 35 minutes, and not because I was smoking it too quickly, because every time I would take a puff on it, it's so loose.
It was just pulling it through
yeah.
the air through it. Yeah.
So again, that should have qualified as like you said, I should have given up on this, but I only had the one, and you know, I wanted to give it a legitimate try because it's not a brand that I can find quickly locally. I have to go online for it. So, you know, the hard part for me about giving one up is typically if I'm going to give one up, it's one that I know what it is already.
Yeah.
If it's something I've never smoked before, I will freaking fight to the death on that.
And
one.
it's funny. Scott said, you know, taste is probably the number one for him. And I'd say that the draw would be the number one for me. Well, again, it's going to depend on the cigar. If it's something that I can readily just go to my humidor and get another one, or come down to my local brick and mortar and pick up another one, then either way, if I'm having a problem, I may throw in on it. But I will fight something that the initial taste is maybe not right in my wheelhouse longer. If it's something that, you know, that I'm not familiar with, something that was given to me, something that's maybe new on the market, I will ride that ride for a lot longer.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is, but I'm maybe it'll change as it goes through. I want to give it the best benefit of the doubt I can give it if it's just taste.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I think you touched upon something. There's a difference between this isn't quite in my wheelhouse to this is
terrible.
Yeah. This is basically I'm smoking a cat turd. there's a difference between the two. So not quite in your wheelhouse. Yeah, I can work through that and just say, okay, let me experience it for what it is. But it's not just, oh my God, what did they roll this?
And for as long as I've been smoking cigars, there's been 2 cigars that I have put down, say this far into it, and go, yeah, no, I can't do this. And I'm not going to name either cigar, or brand or anything, because once again, it doesn't matter what it is, because the manufacturer makes great cigars. They've been in business for a long time. It's just not my, it's not my profile, not my wheelhouse. One of the 2, it was a gift, and I'm pretty sure part of the problem was it wasn't humidified correctly, and I should have left it in my humidor for a while and let it go. I've had other cigars from that same line since, and they've been okay. Not one of my favorites by any means, but not to the degree that I'm like, "Whoo, man, this is bad." And so I'm taking part of the blame on that I should have, cared for it for a little while after I received it, before I started, giving it a shot. But yeah, in all these, almost 30 years of smoking, I've had 2 cigars that I just went, nope.
You know what the funny thing is, and anyone who's listened to us for a while knows what our philosophy is when we review or speak on cigars. We'll never trash a specific cigar or give it a name, just because everything is subjective. But I also believe, and I'll be so bold to say, there are some cigars out there, right now, which aren't very good. I mean, I think we can all assess that. But the beautiful thing is, in the cigar community, like any market, the market's going to determine its longevity.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's just a really horrific cigar, it's not going to be around long. Or there's a market or a group somewhere who digs it, and that's fine.
And that does come into your point. Taste is subjective.
Yeah.
What I think is trash, you two might like. What you two think is trash, I mean, like, you guys are crazy. That's a great stick. It just is. It's it is. I guess it is what it is. Even though I think I can figure out a better way to say it, but it's not coming to mind right now.
Everybody has a different palate. Whether it's cigars, whether it's alcohol, food,
Absolutely.
sweet desserts, whatever. I mean, we like what we like. Some of the darker stuff that I smoke on a regular basis, Greg wouldn't touch. That's just not his. That's not his forte. It's not his palate. It's not the way he wants to go with his, cigar experience. And yeah, that's neither one of us are right or wrong. It's just where we're at, as far as what we like to smoke at that particular time. So, the care and feeding of cigars is super important.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys been someplace into a brick and mortar, and you get kind of excited because you're out of area, you're traveling or something, and like, oh, there's a place that's got cigars, and you go in and you're instantly like, oh, damn, because they're not stored properly. You can tell right from the get-go that these are going to suck, right? And inevitably they will have some quality sticks that they're not taking care of, and it's going to suck. And you're just like, oh man, these would be great if they weren't dried out.
That reminds me, and it may not apply to where I was, because I was out in New Orleans and some years ago, and I went into the cigar shop. It had a bar, it had the game on, perfect. And I walk into the humidor with no door and the back door open. But remember, we're talking about, South Louisiana.
New Orleans humidity should be relative.
Yeah, but then you got to think about the temperature fluctuations too. But still, I mean, the cigars were plenty humidified, because as soon as I walked through there, my first reaction was, oh my God, what are you doing to these poor cigars? They're not being cared for. They're not being humidified. I said, oh yeah, I'm in Louisiana. Okay.
It's like South Florida.
Yeah. But even so, I still think, enclosed environment. And I had a couple of cigars there, and they weren't bad at all. And we touch upon this idea of humidity, and what brought this up as far as, fluctuating humidity, as cigars travel or where they are is a lot of our friends are leaving the state for retirement and various other reasons. So, we've got a few friends who are getting the hell out of here. And the topic came up to how the hell traveling with cigars is one thing. You got yourself a small or medium to large case, you throw a Boveda pack in there and you're styling. But what about your entire cigar collection? Like this fool with 25 freaking
22.
bundles, whatever, 22, 25 boxes / and or bundles of the last czar. Somehow he's kept this crazy little evil Dr. Evil plan to corner the last czar market.
I'm hoarding them. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's my favorite cigar.
Wow.
But no, you're right, because if you
Everybody
look
has a
at, look at Larry, look at you, look at me, look at, our good friend Bob Bilesma, who is one of the ones that's relocating. We all have extensive cigar collections in the thousands. So you're absolutely right. How do you move that many?
Yeah, because the point of contention, of course, is you don't want them bouncing around because then they'll get damaged. So, if you've got a full box, that's great. But one of our buddies was like, well, I have like half full boxes and whatnot. What do? Do you just tightly pack them up together in a plastic container with a humidification pack, depending on how long they're going to be, traveling to your new destination? So it brings up some challenges.
Yeah, and it's I read an article on this a while back, and it was before we even started talking about this topic, the whole thing. A guy had a cabinet humidor, larger cabinet humidor like what I have, and moved across country, and all he did was shrink wrap the humidor and put it in a U-Haul truck and went across country. And it wasn't a straight drive. I mean, it took him like a week and a half to get from Southern California to New Jersey or wherever they were going. And the cigars, 2/3 of the cigars were split.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
But I just, it's like anything else, I guess. You got to have a little bit of, you got to prepare a little bit for, what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about, how much movement are you going to get if you're boxing, packaging up 10 half boxes or less, are those going to get damaged just from bouncing around from here to Texas or from here to Ohio or wherever you're going?
And the shrink wrapping issue, shrink wrapping cigars themselves, that's really not practical either, because you're gonna put the squeeze on them because it's sucking out all the air.
Yeah.
Because we all
Well, one of the things I saw too on this is those vacuum bags.
Yeah.
For like shrink,
That's what I was speaking of.
Clothes.
That's not a bad idea, but like you said, you're compressing everything.
Yeah.
And you're going to squeeze the cigar. That's the problem, and you're going to have more of a chance of splitting. So because I have one of those. I mean, even a food saver, you can custom the size of the bag and put it in, and then once you take the air out, it's going to squeeze everything.
Now, can you stop that food saver before it just cranks the thing completely?
Yes.
Isn't there a setting where you can just seal the bag? It doesn't.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't vacuum.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, you might as well just use like Ziplocs if you're going to do that. But I guess there is a point where you can just seal it and then stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it just when you get like just enough in there, and you stop the vacuum from squeezing the contents.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's no problem when it comes to meat and such, but with your cigars, you don't want them being pressed upon, to that extent.
They're delicate.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, if one of the three of us were going to be moving right now, I mean,
Husky totes and water pillows.
Yeah, my cigars aren't going in the back of a U-Haul truck.
No.
Sorry, they're going to be in the back seat of the truck. You know,
That was the way when Tommy moved to Idaho. His humidor and everything went in the back of the truck with him. It did not go in the moving van.
yeah,
Right.
and that's I mean, you don't really give that kind of stuff much thought, other than we've had a little bit of experience with it, trying to get 1,200 cigars back from Rocky Mountain or wherever we're coming from. That was a little bit of a challenge. Times that by 20,
Yeah.
and then I got to move all the stuff in my humidor would be a little bit challenging. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but when we were transporting stuff from Colorado, for instance, remember, it was already packaged up.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have that problem. So it was all in nice, neat, tightly packed
Yeah, either
packages
packs
and such,
or
boxes.
Or boxes.
In my case.
Now, the other thing that if you're going all the way across the country, what condition is your humidor in when you get to point B? How much is that? How much is your cabinet humidor, for example, dried out?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't see where that would be just you get there, unpack it, plug your humidification into the wall, and throw your cigars back in there. I'm thinking that's something that's probably going to have to set for a couple of weeks.
Actually, no, there is a solution for that. Your buddy had it half right when he shrunk wrapped the humidor you had. His problem was he put cigars in it. If I was going to do that, I would take, man, Boveda should be paying me money right now, but it's a good product, so I don't mind. I would just take like a fuck ton of Boveda packs at 84, throw like 10 of them inside that, depending on how long you're going to be traveling with the from point A to point B. You throw a couple of 84s, or if they have something higher than that, into the humidor,
and then just shrink wrap the hell out of it, huh?
And then you but if it takes say 3 days to a week, by the time you get it to your destination, you check the
Got it all, yeah.
humidification.
Yeah.
It might not take, even if it's not ideal, it would be close enough to being dialed in than just letting it just dry out and wasting,
And then have
all
to
that
wait a month for
humidification.
it to season again.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be a shorter seasoning time, whereas it would be a month or so. If you let it totally dry out, it could be a week. You put your humidification unit.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear other people's ideas on how they would travel with said cigars, because I don't necessarily have the answer. And one of the interesting things is you gave us that article that from Small Batch.
Right.
Speaking of fluctuating humidification, and when you buy cigars, like your addiction to cigar bed, when do you smoke them? You don't smoke them as soon as they come. What the fuck?
The ceiling is nice right now. No, it does bring up a good point. This, the moving conversation is what got me thinking about this article, because when I bought a bit from Small Batch, they sent this article as a follow-up email about talking about cigars traveling. Now, obviously, Small Batch is one that they ship everything priority or UPS. So it was 2 days to me, not horrible, especially coming from LA to here. The humidity is not going to fluctuate terribly on that journey. But, if we're talking about Cigar Bed or other houses, you're talking a week shipping time.
Yeah.
There are companies out there for an additional fee, they will pack your order with a Boveda pack and send it to you, so you don't have to worry about humidification. But the crux of the article, which I doubt Small Batch will mind me posting it to our website as long as we reference where it came from.
Just post the link.
You can get humidity fluctuations, particularly coming across the country. Let's take that particular auction site that I seem to love. It's in Pennsylvania, so it's taking a week for the cigars to get out here. Well, humidity's high in Pennsylvania, and humidity gets less and less as you cross the Midwest, and then comes up a little bit when you get into California. So you've got 3 different humidity fluctuations that the cigars are going to experience on their journey. That tends to stress them out. Not the great term, but it tends to stress them out. So, if you're one that likes to buy online, or you have no other choice because you have no brick and mortar in your area, certain parts of Wyoming and Montana come to mind. You can't really buy cigars and smoke them right away. Case in point, a shipment that I had got recently, the day they arrived, my brother and I cracked that thing open, light one and smoke it. And we're like, this is awful. Fast forward 2 weeks of them spending time in my humidor, getting rehydrated, getting to be more relaxed. It's a decent cigar. But that dryness that they achieved in that week travel time really dampened everything. So, it's one of those things where the article talks about the short trip to grandma's house is, if you get past all the relative humidity explanation, is that, when you order cigars and they come to you, unless they're packed with a humidipack in it, they need to relax in that humidor for a couple of weeks before you think about smoking them, because they need to come back up to the 70% or the 65 or 68, depending on what you keep your humidor at.
Very good advice, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So, question from the Camera Gorilla. The question and a note. The note was going to be the other thing you have to think about, especially if you're traveling either by air or shipping by air, or traveling over mountains and then back down in elevation, is the pressure difference. That might fuck with whatever vessel you're putting it in too.
It actually does.
I've definitely had a tube of toothpaste explode in my luggage before, and I definitely don't want that to happen to the bag of cigars I have and have them get to where I'm going and realize, oh, these haven't been humidified at all because my bag popped.
Most modern commercial airliners, though,
they pressurize to 8,000 feet.
So
I wonder if that had anything to do with it too, because that also fucks with the humidity and the whole shebang.
It definitely can. I mean, I know that when I take my travel humidor from here at, what are we, about 600-700 feet?
Yep.
Up to deer camp at 6,000 feet, and I come back down again, the pressure does screw with the box, because it's a bitch to get it open once you get down here, unless it has a pressure relief valve on it.
I'll be damned.
So the question I had, because the holidays are upon us.
Wow.
Just a taste of the holidays. But
Easy.
how do we /you/me, the generic everyday cigar smoker, how do you guys package cigars to be shipped either as gift or as, because I plan to send some cigars to persons whom I tolerate.
See, it's easy for me. I don't ship cigars.
I got this one because I do this regularly back and forth between Tommy and I in Idaho. We ship packages about every couple weeks to each other of cigars. So in my case, I'm using just a little prepaid shipping box from the Postal Service, right? I get my cigars, pack them in a bag with a humidification pack in it, and then my biggest thing is you don't want the cigars to be able to jostle around in the box. So if you got extra space, fill that, seal it up, and send it off. They arrive fine, and they're good to go smoking right afterwards. So I haven't had any problems with them, as long as the biggest thing is just make sure they're humidified and they're safe.
So just loosely in a Ziploc with a Bovita? Okay.
Yeah, and then make sure that Ziploc bag cannot jostle around inside the box.
Yeah, if you have to put a little bit of newspaper or a little bit of something in that in that box, or a little bubble wrap or whatever, yeah, you just want it. You don't want it tight, but yeah, you want it so that it's not going to bounce around inside the box.
Well, see, I had an idea. The Ziploc works fine. So, say you have remaining space in the Ziploc, fold it over to the point where it's just kind of like the cigars aren't going to move, and just put like a rubber band, not too tightly. Just put that on there, and then put packing inside the box, and you'll be styling. Throw a Brovita in there, inside the Ziploc, of course, because your whole goal is you don't want the cigars just bumping uglies all during the time by the time it gets to point B. You all right there, Skippy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Doing all right there, champ?
Jesus Christ.
They had 25 children when they get to their destination.
If only. Now, just because I won't sound like an arrogant prick when I said I don't ship cigars. This is why Cigar accessories kick ass for a couple of reasons. I don't have to worry about trying to ship cigars, as gifts. Accessories work wonderful. They're easier to ship. I'm going to say this right now for Christmas. Someone who's, likes and is into cigars, the Ciccar, this is a bomb right here. Especially, I love this. As you see, I'm showing off for those on YouTube. I'm sitting it in my holder. And then when I'm ready to use it.
Look, let me explain something to you. Oh. You don't need no fancy holder.
Ass clown.
You don't need no fancy holder. Now, see.
Tyson, that was Greg that clowned your holder.
Exactly.
Just to be clear.
How come you didn't send me the shiny one with the light in it?
Oh, God. You need to learn a lot about presentation.
Motherfucker.
Anyway, you were saying, Mr. Robinson.
I think he said it.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Well,
That pretty much sums it up for me.
And I agree. I agree with you on a back to serious note here. Yes, cigar accessories are typically better. Because the amount of lighters, cutters, Cicars, humidors, the amount of accessories out there are just phenomenally
It's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous now because, certain brands, certain manufacturers have really embraced the accessories / swag market.
Yes.
And then that, ancillary companies have also taken notice as to the popularity of cigars, in a certain market and reached out for that. Speaking of accessories, did either one of you get, or I'm sure you got it was in the bag, but have either one of you tried the cigar scissors, little fold-out pocket knife looking thing? That
I have not. I have it in a box still. I have not utilized it just yet.
Great, but judging by
Listen,
the look on
listen,
Greg's face-
VIP fuckos. No.
Oh, damn it! That's right, Greg. You didn't get one. Sorry, Dick.
Sorry, Greg.
So on that note, okay, I have a pair of cigar scissors. It was a gift from a friend. It is a well-known, popular brand.
You have friends?
I got two of them sitting over here and one of them over there. What's your point?
Bold of you to consider us that, my friend.
So
Please continue.
So I'm going to say this about cigar scissors. They work great until they dull, and then they crush things.
You know what I'd like to find? Someone to make cigar scissors out of surgical steel.
I'm sure it's out there. If not, I'm sure you could have a knife maker or blacksmith make them.
A blacksmith? You mean the same one that I shoe my horses with?
Yeah, pretty much. So,
That's it? That's all you're going to give that?
what do you want?
Dude. Anthony, if you do not, Camera Gorilla, if you do not cut in the scene from Blazing Saddles with the black guy on the horse right there at that point, you're fired. Look at him shaking his head.
So,
He's writing notes.
making notes.
Piss the hell off is what he's writing down, I'm pretty sure.
And that's probably what'll come up on the screen, too. So, I like the idea.
My point was, and I truly did not mean to, point out the fact that you didn't get any, Greg, because
No, I know you didn't.
I forget that you were,
Steerage.
merely in the baggage compartment.
But
for
while
that
we're
trip.
here,
But since I have an opportunity to club you over the head with it again, I shall. As a freebie goes, not a bad. I mean, they're definitely. I don't know how long they're going to stay sharp, last, but right now, I have them in my little travel humidor box, and yeah, they're pretty solid, man.
So, I picked up something kind of similar to what you're talking about. It's a little short kniff, about that big. For those of you not on YouTube, it's about 2.5 inches long, and it's got a hole in the side where you put your cigar, and when you fold the blade back down, it cuts the end off.
I've seen those.
I haven't tried it yet because it just got here, but it looked interesting.
Okay.
And for a couple of bucks, it's something that's entertaining that'll be a good story on the show at a later date.
Excuse my ignorance. What the fuck's a kniff?
Oh, God.
Oh, never mind.
Knife.
Yeah. English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
About as well as you do.
Wow.
That's arguable, but alas.
You write better than I do, but
Oh.
but anyway, and that's two things. Our holiday show is coming.
Just a taste, like a dope dealer. You just get a taste for
What
free.
a prick. Who hired this kid?
You did.
That's what you get for not talking fast enough.
Yum dum da 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 dum dum da 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 da
And
da.
I think, we'll probably talk about that in our early December show, but cigars are not a bad gift either. I don't know about you two, but I guess this is just a question now that the thoughts in my head is, when someone buys you a cigar that's not necessarily something you normally smoke, do you consider that a bad gift?
No,
But we've talked about this. If someone goes to the trouble of giving you a cigar at their earnest, trying to give you something that they think you'd enjoy, you'd be a douchebag to sit there and say, "Oh, this fucking sucks."
True.
It'd be about as bad as my kids who gave me like a box of
Havana Tampas or something like
with,
that.
with honey tips and their little eyes going blink, blink. And it's like, oh, this is the greatest gift ever. Thinking, how the fuck am I going to get through all these things?
Didn't you give most of them away?
that's when you have a poker night and it's cigars for everybody.
No, I got lucky. It was when I was with my first wife and we were getting our concrete pad in our backyard. So my dad and his dad drove up from L.A. to help me put it in. I took like a handful of them because he smoked a couple of them and said, "Oh, yeah, I like these."
Congratulations, you are now the proud new owner.
That's right. But see, I didn't do all of them because I can't have my kids going, "Daddy, where did your cigars go? Didn't you like them?" With boys, you can just say, "Shut up." With girls, it's like,
Huh. Good to know.
yeah. Yeah, you can say anything. The boys, they'll take it. Little girls do blinky, blink, blink, and cry. You don't want that.
I'm sending cigars to my friend because Ethan, if you're listening to this, I love you to death, but every time I've seen him smoke a cigar, and I'm going to throw him under the bus for this.
Swisher?
No. I taught my boy good. And that's why I want to send him cigars, because he moved to Kansas and I don't know what the cigar market out there is like. I'm assuming not good. So I want to send him some good stuff. But every time I've seen him light up a cigar, he's a Zippo lighter guy, and I can't get him to do the torch lighter. I got him a torch lighter. I hope he lights his cigars with it, but he's a Zippo dude.
He likes the taste of butane.
To be fair, it's his Zippo that he's had from his dad. It's like a family heirloom. I get why he uses it. It's very special to him. But that's why I'm not sending him accessories, because I don't know that he would appreciate the accessories the same way someone like us, someone like you guys would. But he would appreciate the cigars more. So
Yeah.
You're a very thoughtful individual, Gorilla.
his only option are like Swisher Sweets and fucking corn husks. So.
Oof.
Oh, don't worry. We bash him about living in Kansas constantly. It's fine.
As he makes a living wage and is able to afford to buy a home. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can see. I can see we're bashing the shit out of
He
him.
bashed us right back with how much he's paying in rent right across the street from Kansas State. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Probably let alone what his gasoline cost is.
I can fill my tank for $20.
Yeah, I can too if it's a moped.
Yeah, no kidding. I just paid $79 last night for 16 gallons.
Do you know how much it is to fill my Harley? It used to be like around $15-17. It's damn near $35 to fill a 5 freaking gallon tank.
Welcome to Cali.
Yep, indeed.
Well, alrighty then.
All right. So go ahead, Greg. I'm
One
sorry.
real more quick thing. I know this is the election's going to come out after, or the election's going to be done by this show. But we're voting on the flavored tobacco ban.
Yep. I hope everybody has picked a side on that.
Yeah.
And wherever you're at on that, like for it, against it, whatever. vote. You know,
Make your voice heard.
Yeah, that's what makes the operation of this this metropolis we live in great, is you exercising your rights.
Amen.
You know, so like I said, if you're for it, you're against it, whatever, go out and, you know, cast your vote.
Yep.
Support your local brick and mortar, especially, you know, this holiday season. It's been a rough ride for some of them the last couple of years through the pandemic. You know, try to get out and do a little more in-person shopping this year if you can, for the small businesses that are still around that survived. You know, show your support in your community, and at this time of year, good time to recognize and remember Cigars for Warriors.
Yep.
Some of those other fine establishments that take care of our veterans and stuff with care packages, and that's a good one. We've got to know those guys through the events that we go to, and you know, just, you know, remember it. You know, remember it all year, but especially at this time of year.
Yep.
Oh, two things. Speaking of Cigar for Warriors, we've got a shipment to get over to them, and also for folks out there, I think we need to put a link on the website to where to send your cigars. I don't care, honestly, and I'm gonna be real about this. I don't give a fuck if you send like 1 cigar or 5 cigars or whatever. That suggestion with the Ziploc, drop them in the Ziploc with a little Bovida packet, fold it over, put a rubber band on it, stick it in a shipping box, and send something over to those folks.
Well, in a lot of cases too, you know, most brick and mortars, a lot of the brick and mortars already have a representative. This one does not yet, but you know, a lot of the brick and mortars know who Cigars for Warriors are and already participate with them. So ask your brick and mortar when you go in there too.
But see, I even go as far as you don't even have to do that. You know, we're going to have the link onto the website. You can do that yourself. You don't need anyone to do that for you. We'll have the address. Just, you know, send them a little something, because remember, these cigars are going to guys who are in active areas of operation, who are, you know, the frontline guys, you know, who are really potentially risking their lives out there. And I don't think it's too much to ask to send them a cigar to let them know that, you know, us folks stateside, or us rear echelon motherfuckers, are thinking about them.
And
All
if you don't feel like shipping cigars, they do take cash.
Yes, they do. Cash donations are always welcome.
All right, we got any final thoughts on the cigars we're smoking?
Well, I definitely have final thoughts on this Ciccar. You know, the more I use it, you know, the neater I think it is. It's, you know, it's actually getting me to smoke a little slower. And I'm getting a lot of smoke out of it. I mean, this is actually a wonderful accessory, something I would suggest for the Christmas holiday, for the cigar smoker in your life or fellow cigar smoker. I think they really appreciate something like this.
If you go to the link on if you go to our website, LumaCigarCartel.com, there's a friends section in the top. Click on that. You can find a link to the Ciccar webpage and their store.
Right
Well,
on.
deal.
And Larry, how about you?
Again, Scott, same thing. I think it forces me to smoke it a little slower. Getting an incredible draw through this thing, and I love all the vintage series from Rocky. So, you know, I'm going to make a, you know, mental note to get back around to some of these a little more often than I have been. But the Cameroon is a fantastic cigar. If you haven't tried one of these yet, if you see one, pick it up. You know, give it a run. I don't think you'll be disappointed in the least. And yeah, just a good solid cigar all the way around.
Right
Yep.
on. How about you, Greg?
Camera Gorilla?
The Christophe Cameroon is fantastic. It's same as last time. Excellent cigar, great flavor, and I've just been enjoying it while listening to you guys.
You know, and my Hamlet, you know, the Ciccar, I'm not going to repeat it for the third time because I agree with everything they've said. I really like this little gadget. The Hamlet, what saddens me is Hamlet has left Rocky Patel. That being said, we're still going to enjoy the cigars that he blended for Rocky because they're still in production and they're still being shipped. If you haven't tried any of Hamlet's cigars, I suggest you do so. I know there is one of them that is going away. I should have been more prepared for that, but I'm not. But, you know, the 25th anniversary Hamlet that's in there, the Liberation like this one, they're just solid cigars. It's exactly what I would expect out of the Patel House, as you said. So it really is a great line, and I think this one is technically a Maduro. I think that for anybody smoking at any level, it's a solid choice because even the new smoker is going to enjoy the flavors. They may not fully understand it, but they'll enjoy the complexity of the pepper and the dark chocolate and the
they're not going to get overpowered. They say that's a full.
I don't agree.
A full, I think is what like Half Wheel called it, and I do not agree with that. That's a medium to full
at best.
And you know, I think sometimes they throw the full on anything that's Maduro, and I think they're doing the cigars a disservice when they do that because I think they're scaring away some people that might try it based on something they've read if it was a medium or a medium to full.
I absolutely
and
agree.
that is 100% a medium.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the flavors are very complex. They're excellent. That's an excellent cigar. So, yeah, any one of the four that the four of us that are smoking today, if you haven't tried any one of these four cigars or one of these four cigars, or you are not going to be disappointed in any way, shape, or form with any one of these four cigars you picked up. Or if you're not sure what to get a cigar smoker as a gift of a cigar, one of these four
would be great.
Yes.
Great. You know, even if it's something they haven't smoked, they're not going to be disappointed in them. So
yeah,
right on.
And I would encourage everybody out there in YouTube and podcast land listening. The one caveat I want to add to that is if you're thinking about that that Cameroon Lancero that Anthony is smoking, get out there and find it while you can. Our good friend John and Christoph has told us that is a limited production. When they run out of tobacco, it is over. So that's one that you need to find it while it's out on the market because you'll really enjoy it.
You don't say.
I do say. And Craig's ordering some more boxes for us to have at the shop. So, one last note before we wind out with Scott here. Next episode for you, we have a really interesting story coming for you. His name is.
I don't have the name in front of me, so thanks a fucking bunch for just putting me on the spot.
That's all right. You're pulling a Greg. So we're going to interview the gentleman that owns the Racketeer Lounge up in Coeur d'Alene, outside of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. He's got a really interesting story, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So join us for the next show that airs either just before or just after Thanksgiving. And since this one comes out, from the four of us here at Beyond the Humidor, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Amen.
Well, my cigar is sitting in the Ciccar stand and my scotch glass is empty, so I think it's about that time. Want to thank our listeners out there, and on behalf of Camera Gorilla, Larry, Greg, and myself, thank you for listening. Check us out at LimCigarCartel.com. Like and share us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Don't be a stranger. Let us know you're out there. Drop us a line. I'm Scott Robinson from all of us here at Beyond the Humidor. We look forward to chatting with you on the next episode. But until then, take care, stay healthy and safe, and good smoke, good drink, and good life. You see, Greg, you make it your own.
Right.